inside my car on the expressway to your heart.
We're back at Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Eatonton Road in Madison. It is the Auto Show. Thank you again for joining us. Pleased to be with you. Chip Linus along with Louis Herring, our co-host.
Here in the showroom, buddy.
We are here in the showroom, a beautiful showroom in Madison. And Louis, we've covered a lot of stuff the last couple of weeks. What are we going to talk about today?
What have we covered lately? What's the last couple of shows?
We've talked about CPOs, pre-owned cars.
That's right, certified cars.
Pre-owned, and we've talked about getting the most for your trade-in.
That's right. You know, if you're just tuning in for the first time or you've heard this show before, we discuss a lot of various topics that's in the car industry that a lot of times consumers won't know, right? I mean, now they can research a lot of things, and I lead them to help them, research whether it's inventory, whether it's pricing, whether it's certified, whether it's Carfax, auto check information, whether it's residual lease guides. There's a lot of things that I think are important when you're shopping for a car. Today's topic, we're going to discuss: is it really real? Is it really real?
Is it really
so there are various things that go on in a car dealership throughout the car process that people want to know, is it really real? For example, is it really real that I can drive as many miles as I want on a lease car? Or what is it about a lease car? Or if I go over the mileage, am I really going to get charged? Is that true or not true? If I buy a car, can I return the car? Can I just bring it back the next day? And if so, why not? And if I can, what are the rules to that? Is it real that if I pay you cash, I get a better deal? So these are just a few of the things that we're going to discuss today. I've got probably 10 or 12 of them that I believe that customers really want to know. Is this really real? A lot of things come up in a car dealership where when you're doing a transaction, especially if you bought multiple cars, things change, right? Legislation changes, taxes changes, ad valorem changes, leases change. There's a lot of different things that we discuss. So we want to get into that, and also invite those that are listening to the show. If you need a new or pre-owned vehicle, come visit us in Madison, Georgia, right across from Chick-fil-A, or you can go online to louisherring.com, and then also Facebook. You're on our Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We do a lot of stuff with our Facebook page. So if you've got your mobile device, just go on there and click Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, become a fan, and we send out discounts, deals, all kind of incentives, especially video. We do specific videos, Chip. I don't know if you know this, specifically for Facebook.
I got you. Yep.
So we track everything we do, whether it's radio or TV or mail, but we track Facebook, and we do specific deals specifically for Facebook, and the response we get is huge. So
like Louis Herring.
Like them, and hopefully you do like them.
There you go. You got it. All right, we're coming back. Is it real? We're going to discuss that as the hour moves on. We thank you for being here. It is the Auto Show. Chip Linus along with guest host Louis Herring. We're at Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Eatonton Road in Madison. This is Doc 103.9.
Who's gonna drive you home? Well, I'm a friendless stranger in the black sedan. Won't you hop inside my car on the expressway to your heart?
Back at Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Eatonton Road in Madison. Auto Show rolls on. Thanks for checking in with us. Louis Herring discussing what you will not hear anywhere else, particularly from a car dealer. Talking about, is it real?
No, exactly. And look, I enjoy covering a lot of these topics. To a large degree, I know the information's out there, Chip. You and I discussed this. Anything that I discuss here, you can validate or verify or find on your own. But the reality is not every day people are in the market for a car. So every 3 to 4 years, they catch themselves and find themselves now researching, digging up information to figure out what they need to do. So it's not something they do on a daily basis. Me doing this 23 years, this is what I know. This is what we've been doing. So for me to share that information, to me, again, somewhat like the law of reciprocity. I mean, the more you give, the more you get. Hey, I'm giving information that maybe others here that are in the industry and question why. But it's not a big deal, So we're going to talk about what is really real, or is it real? So let's talk about the first one. Is it real that I can drive as many miles as I want on a lease vehicle and not have to pay a penalty? Is that true or false? Is that real or no?
I've never leased a car, but I think you have to pay if you go over.
All right, so here's the deal. If you lease a vehicle if you lease an automobile and your objective is to drive the vehicle and turn the vehicle in, you are accountable for any excess mileage over the amount that was on your contract. Okay, so the straight answer to that would be yes. Now, would be no, you cannot drive as many miles. But I'm going to tell you that if you take the other three options that you have available to you, which is you can trade it, you can sell it, or you can buy it, you can put as many miles on there as you want.
Now explain that.
All right. So let's get into this. So let's say you have a lease that's 15,000 mile a year lease. You drive 19,300 miles a year. You want to turn the vehicle in. When you turn the vehicle into the leasing source, they're responsible to liquidate, remarket the car, and get the money back out of the car. Well, they've already gauged everything on that car of the value predicated on you having so many miles on it to know what it's going to bring at the auction 3 years in the future.
Gotcha.
So any losses they incur, they will eat, but they've already kind of set it up properly on their end from the residual standpoint with history of what these cars normally bring. They're not going to lose much. But if you go over the mileage and you turn the car back to them, they already know that it's going to take a hit of roughly 15, 20 cents, 18 cents a mile over what they anticipated. So they will then forward that bill to you. Now, if you take the other three options, which is trade the vehicle, if you trade the vehicle, does the bank get the car or who gets the car?
If you trade it, the dealer where you trade it.
The dealer gets the car, so not the bank. So the bank doesn't care if you got 4 million miles on it.
Oh.
They don't get the car back.
Okay.
If you sell your lease vehicle to Mr. Johnson, who gets the vehicle?
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson. There again, the bank does not get it. Mr. Johnson can have it with 368,000 miles on it. The bank's not going to care how many miles you put on it.
I got you.
Right?
As long as their loan's paid off.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And if you trade, if you buy it yourself as your own lease car,
You
again,
don't care.
the bank does not care how many miles you have on it because you're getting the car. Understand that you can drive as many miles as you want on a lease vehicle, as many miles as you want, provided that you do not turn the vehicle in. You exercise one of your other three options, which is to trade it to the dealership, sell it to a consumer, or buy it yourself. The dealership, the consumer, and yourself are the ones that take possession of the vehicle, and there's no mileage penalty because the bank's not having to liquidate or remarket the car.
So if you're leasing a car, before you turn it in, you're free to sell it to somebody
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can sell it, you can trade it, you can buy it, you can turn it in. You've got four options at the end of a lease. And this is where people get confused. And a lot of times when we're dealing with consumers, they're like, oh, I'd never lease because I don't drive 12,000 miles. Okay. Well, the vehicle you have that you're trading to us right now has over the mileage that you would normally have, 12,000 miles a year, and you're trading it. So if you duplicate the same process and you lease a vehicle and trade the vehicle in, okay, you're not going to get penalized. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. Well, it sounds too good to be true, Louis. If I don't turn it in and I exercise my other three options and I don't have a lease penalty for the mileage, then where is the downside of leasing a car? Well, obviously, if you lease a car and you're supposed to put 12 or 15,000 miles a year based on what the car should have, the lifespan of a car, and you put 20,000 miles a year, when you do go to trade the vehicle, you're going to get a lesser value than you would if it had 12,000.
Sure.
So do you still get penalized, so to speak? Yes, in the valuation of the car, you're going to get penalized by the value of the vehicle. In that value versus what you owe, there could be a negative equity situation that you roll into the next car. But that's no different if you purchased a car.
Yeah, if you bought a car.
If you bought a car and you have the same mileage on there, you have a payoff and you have a value, and you're going to have to roll that negative equity into your next car. So the point is you don't get away scot-free. Okay?
Right.
The only way you get away scot-free is if you lease an automobile and you drive the 12,000 miles a year and you turn the vehicle in and you walk away, you eliminate all negative equity. You're done. You have driven the car, you've got the usage, you're good, you turn, you walk away, normal wear and tear is fine. As long as you haven't wrecked it, crashed it, or anything goofy, you totally walk away. That is probably one of the best ways to have a usage of an automobile, because so many people trade. They don't ever get a title to the car anyways.
Right.
So if you're not going to get a title to the car and you're fixated on buying a car but you never own the car because you never get a title because you always trade the car, you need to consider leasing. Now, a whole nother conversation when we come back from the break is, real quick, just to touch on should you lease or not lease. Again, state by state, it's going to vary, and I want to talk about that when we come back.
All right, and we'll be back just a moment. You're listening to The Auto Show, live at Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Eatonton Road in Madison. This is the voice of Lake Oconee, Doc 103.9.
stranger in the black sedan. Won't you hop inside my car?
On the expressway to your heart.
Back at Louis Herron, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Chip Linus, along with guest host Louis Herron. It is the Auto Show. Catch it every week. You're going to learn something that'll save you money on your next car purchase. We're talking about leasing and the advantages of that.
Yeah, so if you're just joining the show late, actually the title of the show is it really real? And so the question we asked, if you missed it, was, is it real that I can drive as many miles as I want on a lease vehicle and not have to pay a penalty? The answer to that was yes. So I know you're thinking, wait a minute, I just joined the show. That doesn't seem right. You'll have to go back and catch the show. It replays on Monday at 11 to 12 or Saturday 9 to 10. You need to catch it. Or you can go on the Facebook page, Louis Herron Facebook page, and you can catch it there because it's a real interesting answer. But as we were talking about that, those that had been listening to the show, I want to make sure that we cover leasing. So if we were talking about should we lease or should we buy, and I said it's really predicated on what state you're in. The leasing is extremely advantageous when you're in a state that allows you to pay tax on the payment, not tax on the whole price of the car. Currently, the state of Georgia, with the TAVT tax, they're under legislation to try to change that, and the manufacturers are trying to do things with rebates and incentives and residual enhancements to make it work. But the reality is, in the state of Georgia, it's almost as competitive to it is almost, I would say, it depends on the brand. It's equally competitive to lease and buy right now from a payment perspective. The benefit of leasing is your payments are always lower. That's a huge benefit. And they're lower because you're only paying for a portion of the car, not keeping it for the whole term, so you drive more car for less money. Now, with the TAVT tax, it makes it a little more challenging because you're paying tax on the whole car as if you were buying it versus the payment. So it's a significant difference. Anyways, another show, another time, we'll get into leasing and get into the details of that. So is it really real? So is it really real that if I buy a car, I can return the vehicle before 3 days expires? I got my buddy Pat Hayes. Pat Hayes just walked into the dealership. Don't leave, Pat. I'm not going to bring you on air. Don't worry. I'm almost going to a break.
Yeah.
The keys to the Cherokee are they're on my desk. Hold on one second. We're going to a break in a second. So got a customer walked in. That's kind of wild. Is it real that I can return a car in 3 days before 3 days expires? Here's the reality. In the state of Georgia, there is no right of rescission. There is none. You buy a car, you own it. Legally, there is no cooling off period. A lot of people misunderstand that. And they think, well, I bought a car, I should be able to, return it. It's only been 72 hours. Well, if you go to, if we go to your place of business and go door to door, or you buy an automobile off-site, off the location of the dealership, then you have 3 days right of rescission. Okay. So technically, you're buying a car from Louis Herron, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and you don't want to come into the dealership. I go to your house, and we've negotiated the deal, and I sign papers at your kitchen counter table, and we do finish the deal, and you take delivery at your home. You have 3 day right of rescission.
Wow, okay.
You come to my place of business, there is no right of rescission. Now, I used my store as an example. My store is unique in the sense that we do have a 24-hour money-back guarantee, period. If for any reason you're not satisfied, you can bring the car back. It's not an exchange policy. There's no hooks or tricks. You don't like it, you don't like something, you bring it back. There's no questions asked. I would say 95% of all dealerships do not operate that way.
You're out the door, it's yours.
It's yours. You buy a car, you own it. So the question is it real that I have 3 days to return a car? The answer is no. There are 3 ways that you can return a vehicle. Number 1, the bank financing gets turned down or denied, or the dealership cannot obtain financing for you. Then at that point, you can bring the vehicle back, or you can bring financing from your own source. The second way is the dealer actually advertises that it will take a vehicle back, or it has a return policy, which again, most do not. You can ask any dealer, hey, if I buy this car, can I return this car if I don't like it in 24 hours? In most cases, they're going to tell you no. Okay. And then the third one is if it's an off-site sale. Okay. Again, if you sign the papers off of your home, you can return the vehicle.
Okay.
So is it really real? Can you return a car within 72 hours of buying the car? The answer is no, you cannot. There's no cooling off period.
But Louis, you said something there. Do people drive off the lot without having their bank financing it? You said if the financing is turned down, isn't it approved before they drive off?
Ooh, that's a whole nother show.
Okay.
But I'll answer it quickly for you. No, nobody. 95% of all customers are not approved when they walk out of the dealership. We have to assign that contract to a lender, and we structure the deal based on the lender guidelines, assuming we're going to get those terms and conditions approved. And we feel so confident, 95% certain, 99% certain we're going to get those terms and conditions approved. We let the customer leave with the automobile because we know the contract will be assigned within 24 hours, and the liability is minimal on our side and their side.
Gotcha.
If we question the deal and we say, based on the structure, I'm 50% sure I can get this deal approved like this, they don't take the car.
I see.
So every dealer is different. Now, I'll tell you, there's some dealers that have a practice. I've worked with some in Atlanta back in the day, and I'm hoping that a lot of dealers have gotten totally away from this with the laws and everything. But it was a practice sometimes to put somebody in a car that they knew they could not get approved at those terms, and have to call them back and restructure the deal and get more money down,
I see.
or but hoping the customer would fall in love with the car, and they'd show their neighbors. Now they're embarrassed. I mean, I would like to think a lot of that is not the case anymore.
Yep.
But it used to happen back in the day, which is really what gives car dealers, a terrible reputation because, that's not good business, obviously.
Gotcha. All right, hang with us. Is it real? This show is real. We promise you that. It's the Auto Show each week at this time at Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. We're back with the final segment right after this. This is Doc 103.9.
Who's gonna drive you home? Well, I'm a friendless stranger in the black sedan. Won't you hop inside my car?
On the expressway to your home.
Having fun.
Back at Louis Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Eatonton Road in Madison. Always having a good time. We thank you for joining us. It's the Auto Show. You can catch it every week. And Louis, wow, these hours fly by.
They do, buddy. Is it real? Did you get some newfound information?
I tell you what, Louis, I sure did. I learned a lot about leasing today. We learned just a lot about
Well,
how to get the best deal.
We're going to continue this show next week. I've got tons of these. Is it real? And I think that from a consumer standpoint, if you're listening, very intriguing. They're various things that you would assume or thought, and I always encourage everybody. If I say something, verify, validate. You can Google. You can check out yourself the Georgia laws and taxes and leasing and right of rescission and cooling off period. But I try to share with you the most current up-to-date stuff, the information that I have and knowledge that I have, but always open for questioning. So,
very good. How about the service department?
Service is rocking, man. We got great things going on in the service department. I encourage everybody that just wants to do business with me and you don't own a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, that's okay. We service all makes and models, Highline cars. We do several BMWs, Mercedes, Audis, believe it or not. We have John Brooks here, who used to own his own place, and he does all that work for us. He's one of our team members here. We also have Toyota Tech, so we do a lot of imports, Nissan, Toyota, Honda, Kia. We got guys that know how to handle that stuff. There's really not too many cars we can't handle. I can't think of any top of my head unless you want to bring me a Bentley or something. I probably couldn't do that, or a Lambo. I probably have some trouble with that. But other than that, we got great deals, great discounts. Check us out on Facebook. We're always offering tire deals, 10, 20, 15% off deals, oil change specials. So check that out on Facebook.
Very good. And talking about is it real, I know one thing's real, your book.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's right.
Let's swerve into that.
Hey, driven by fire, obviously metaphorically driven, being in the car business. But no, the book, you can pick it up at drivenbyfire.com, or you can go to Amazon and just put in Louis Herring and the book will pop up. $20, I promise you, for $20 you'll get a lot of value. You get a lot of information that was inspiring, encouraging you. If you're an individual that ever has experienced or you ever anticipate experiencing any kind of circumstance or struggle that you didn't expect. Yeah. That's what the book's all about, how to handle things that come your way that are devastating, struggles that happen in your marriage, your career, your business, your finance, your health, your fitness, your spirituality. All of it's covered in that book, and I think it's a great book. I think a great book for young people, all people, very inspiring.
Written by someone who had a few struggles.
I've had a few, and in the book you'll get to know a ton about me because I expose a lot of stuff that some folks may not be may not have known.
Yeah.
My story, I don't think, is a ton different than a lot of people's story. It has to do with upbringing and in certain situations, growing up and living on your own and leaving the house and kind of being self-made, so to speak. But God has been with me every step of the way. That's guided every footstep. So
All right. You are real, Louie.
I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, we're back next week. Thank you for listening. Hope you learned something. I know you did. If you'd like to catch the show, you can do it each week right here at this time. We're live at Louie Herring Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Eatonton Road in Madison. It is the Auto Show. This is the voice of Lake Oconee, Doc 103.9.